So obviously you're Marcus Davis. For anybody that doesn't know, you're from the island. Just tell everyone about yourself. Just kind of let people know.
Yeah, man. Marcus Davis from Victoria, BC. Out in Vancouver Island there, just off the coast of Vancouver, obviously. Played my high school ball at Mount Doug. Came up through, but before that, I was playing the spring league in Victoria. Started when I was about like 6 years old, playing with my brother. Yeah, from Mount Doug, went to UBC, and UBC to I'm with the Ticats in the CFL right now.
That's crazy. So I mean, it's kind of funny because my last recollections of you on the island, man. Last time I played against you, it was when I was in my sophomore year with Belmont. I think you guys beat us 70-3 or 70-6, and I remember just being like, "Oh, so this is what it's about, huh?" Like this, these are the guys that are going to the league, and I remember seeing that, and I was like, "Okay."
Yeah, man. Our squad that year was pretty good. Like we had a lot of good ball players, and yeah, great coaching staff, all that. So we were really gelling that year too. So
and you could tell too, like, because I mean, especially playing ball on the island, like you can attest to it. Like the recognition's kind of hit or miss, but I remember for that game specifically, it was kind of like that big Friday night deal. We had like all the local TV stations out, and like it was a pretty big deal. We had the pack stands, and I remember like that was kind of like the first taste of seeing kind of the culture grow a little bit, because I grew up playing in the same community in spring league as you. Like I played for West Shore,
yep.
and you know, kind of seeing it grow up. And Mount Doug's obviously the school on the island for ball. Like, I mean, I'm sure you can put words to that, but like they're the powerhouse there. So it's good to see the exposure that they're bringing for sure. Like I'll go out to you know, the interior, and people are like, "Oh, like you're from the island, like Mount Doug." And I'm like, "Yeah." You know, it's tough being a Belmont boy, but you know, it's dope that they're getting the recognition. So I mean, what was it like for you playing like on your early high school days and kind of getting the recognition?
It was cool. I mean, like you said, like it's a well-known program there at Mount Doug, and just the guys before me, I really looked up to, like a guy like Alex Anthony, played in the league, Alex Carroll, and guys in my brother's year as well, my brother Terrell. So just looking up to those guys and really trying to, you know, carry on the legacy that they started and really built up from the ground up. We're just trying to carry on what they left behind, and yeah, I think we did a good job doing that.
And then right out of high school, what was your recruiting process like? Like was it a pretty easy transition to go to UBC, or kind of what was it like in your senior year?
You know, it was for me. Recruiting was a little bit hectic. A lot of coaches I was talking to, a lot of different schools. I did have a couple opportunities to go down south, but my brother, when he was at Arizona State, he came up. He was down there for 2 years, and then he came back. He transferred up to UBC, and that was just when I was coming out of high school. So I was just kind of weighing my options, and I felt that it was right for me to go with him to UBC and trying to win a championship at up in UBC there.
Yeah, and then like you said, you ended up winning that championship. So that was the squad. I remember that, and that had a good amount of BC boys on that team, if I remember correctly as well. So
Yeah.
that was a pretty good squad to represent UBC for sure. What was it like, kind of? Because I'm not 100% sure, but you won a Rookie of the Year for Can West, right?
I did, yeah, in my freshman year.
Yeah.
Yeah, as a true freshman.
Yeah.
Our first year there was a little bit shaky, and then a couple things happened, and then we got Coach Nil came from Calgary. Then after that, we really kind of took it to the next level. We had a bunch, yeah, like you said, we had a bunch of BC guys on that team. Yeah, just looking back now, there's probably more than half the guys from BC. So it was a lot of BC talent. Yeah, we had a great squad, a great year. It was a lot of fun.
What was the van year like for you? Like, was it pretty crazy? Like when you guys finally got to the end there?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, there was really not a lot of expectations for us that year, just after the previous year. But once we got the ball rolling, we knew we had what it took to make it pretty far. We made it to the playoffs, and then after that, we just felt that it was a great opportunity to capitalize on our season, and we just went out and we did it. Played Montreal in the final, and it was just a crazy experience. I mean, it's one of those things that you always like kind of dream of playing when that's like the top top place you want to be in your sport. So it was just really just a dream come true. It was great.
And then was it that year, or the year after that your brother got drafted, right?
Yeah, it was just after that year.
So then it was you, and then right after that, you got drafted as well, also to the Ticats, right?
Yep, yep. I got drafted when my 2018. So yeah.
And then what was that transition like after like basically winning Rookie of the Year, winning Vanier, kind of getting all the accolades you can at the U Sports level,
Yeah.
and then getting drafted? Like, what was that whole the build up, what draft day and all that?
Honestly, it was kind of crazy because the year after we won the Vanier, I got hurt so I only played about half a season, and then the following year I got hurt again. I only played 1 year or one game, sorry.
Mm-hmm.
So right after Vanier year, I really only played a half a season. So it was kind of shaky, really. The rest of my college career, I wasn't able to play just because of injury. And then thankful that the Ticats took a chance on me in 2018 and drafted me in the 4th round. But it was really a lot of uncertainty just because of my injuries. I got hurt like 2 years in a row, so it was pretty tough mentally and physically. But I mean, I just kept going, and I knew that I could come back and really be the player who I was again. So I just kept that motivation throughout the rehab process, and with the Ticats now and still. So I'm just thankful for them giving me an opportunity.
Yeah, no doubt. And now that you're in there, you're two, I guess, with the Ticats. What's like being in the CFL organization? What's the facilities and resources like? What's the jump?
Oh man, it's crazy. Like it's really professional. I mean, one thing I could say for sure. It was good my first year, just being able to sit behind some guys like Speedy Banks and Braylon Anderson, and just look what they're doing and take it all in. And like those guys are top in the league. So it was great just to sit behind them and just really learn and soak things up and just really try and be a sponge, and just want to take that into year 2. Hopefully that's sometime soon. But it was great just to have that opportunity to sit back and experience my first year.
Yeah, no doubt. And then it must be weird because like if you come back to BC, it's kind of in that same environment that you grew up playing in, and obviously won championships in that arena before, right? So what's that kind of experience like coming back home playing professionally?
It's cool, man. Like it's definitely something I've always looked forward to my whole career. So just having that opportunity to play at the highest level in Canada is really a dream come true. So it's been a long road, but I'm just happy that I'm able to play for all my teammates and coaches and my family that have helped me support me throughout the whole journey.
Yeah, no doubt. And then, like you mentioned, you have a lot of people that you're obviously getting to learn behind, and that's huge. But more in terms of like the BC side of resources, like was there anything or anyone that kind of stood up when you were making that transition to UBC and then another transition again to the CFL?
Yeah, I guess it was a lot of, I mean, just playing with like, just coming up through BC, the high school. I feel like BC high school is one of the top in the country for sure. Just playing against like top level competition week in and week out really prepared me for for the collegiate level. And then like with UBC we had a lot of BC guys as well, and I played against a lot of them in the BC high school ranks. So I think just coming up through BC and just having a competitive environment really helped me out for sure.
And then I think you could even narrow it down further too, because like generally speaking, when you look at BC football, most of the attention I'd say probably goes to the mainland, closer to Vancouver. But coming from the island, can you speak to kind of being able to put Victoria on the map with Mount Doug in the program there?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, like you said, it's mostly mainland teams that are usually on top, and Victoria is a little bit of a smaller area, and nobody's really having these big expectations for a small school like that. Coming to plays like the powerhouses like Vancouver College, STM, teams like that. So it was a lot of pride, almost like that was on the line. We felt like we were equally as talented, even better than they were. So we just came out and played to our potential every game.
Yeah, absolutely. And then I guess it's weird because you look at the resources that they have on the island, or compared to the mainland, it's not too big of a difference. But in the interview that I did with Jordan, I was kind of talking about how Game Ready Elite has given a lot of the guys in the mainland kind of a resource to grow their game and do the 7-on-7, which is getting bigger and bigger every year.
Yeah.
And then I feel like you could probably give a good insight. Like, do you think there's a good market for that in Victoria? Like, I feel like that's kind of untapped. Like, there's no one really doing like a full football intensive camps here or anything like that outside of JC Boyce when he does his NRA camps.
For sure. There is definitely a huge potential for something like that. I mean, my guy's Jordan Lennon, and I know he's doing some great things over with Game Ready there. And a lot of Victoria kids actually have to, go over there to get some extra training in with those guys. So there's really not too much over here on the island. So just kids out here have to do a little bit more extra work to get to, where they want to be. But I definitely think that there's enough talent out here that it'd be great to have something like that out here for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Basically, I'll just kind of ask like a blatant question here. Like, is there anything that you could think that would need to be done differently in BC in general? Like, any culture changes? I mean, you already mentioned that you think BC high school football is kind of stacking up there in like the top of the country, but like, where do you think we need to be to get to that kind of elite? I mean, like, you see guys in Ontario obviously going to the NFL pretty consistently. Do you think that's kind of a territorial thing, or like?
I guess it really starts with maybe a little bit more with funding. I think that's a big part of it. There's not too much that goes into BC high school football. I mean, speaking for Mount Doug, at least, like, we've never really had a change room. Our field we have never played like a home game on our home field. So just small things like that for sure could definitely be improved. Just getting a little bit more, like funding and more support from the community as well. We've done a lot, I think, for football on the island and as well as in BC. So it'd be great to have a little bit more support, I guess. I think I'd say.
Yeah, and then also another thing that BC does that's pretty unique in terms of what we do for high school is we play American ball, right, for high school. And do you think that plays a large impact in the ability to go down to the States pretty frequently and be able to do the camps down in Seattle and Oregon and wherever it is? But do you think that plays a factor, or do you think that should change, or what's your thoughts on that?
Personally, I enjoyed playing American football. Like you said too, we were able to go down and play teams in like Oregon, Washington, and just playing those teams too really gave us an edge because there was some great competition down there too. So just playing those teams and coming back up to BC, I think helped us out a lot in terms of just getting better. But American football, I think it's good. I think it was fun for a lot of us to play, even though a lot of us would go to college and play Canadian ball, so we'd be a little bit of a transition, but it wasn't too difficult. Just trying to get used to the waggle and the yard off the ball and the 3 downs. A little bit of a transition for sure, but it wasn't too difficult to really transition.
Yeah, I mean, like, I feel like for anybody that's played football for the better part of their lives, like being able to switch kind of back and forth, especially in a place like BC, I feel is kind of secondhand.
Right, for sure. Yeah, it's just football at the end of the day too. So, I think I would like to see American football still be played out here for high school for sure.
Yeah, man, I agree. I think it adds an edge, like you said, and they do lots of things. Like they do the inter-province, like ABC Bowl, and then like you said, there's lots of opportunities out of it, and I think it's pretty key. But also, it's weird because you go down and play in the high school boys here will go play in the Team Canada Cup and stuff like that, and all be Canadian. I feel like that might be the only time where it causes a bit of an issue. But
for sure.
Yeah, man, you basically nailed all the questions. But I'll basically just kind of flip it to you if you have anything to say, or like anything got to add, anything you think that I could touch on, or anybody that I could reach out to.
Man, I don't really have too much else to say. I'm just trying to think of more guys to spread the word type of thing.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. Can't really think of anybody on the top of my head, but I know I'd be able to for sure think of some people. No doubt.
No, that's always good. But yeah, it's good to hit you up for sure because I know that, especially from the island, I'm trying to do like the major points,
Oh
and
my
yeah,
gosh. Yeah.
you definitely have a pretty big reach on the island here. So I think it'll be good for some of these kids to hear your story too, just to show, like I was talking with the other guys too, just to show that it's possible, right? Like you're one of those guys who's from the
Hmm.
island, went through the BC high school, played back here in UBC. Actually, that's something I could ask too. Is like, do you think it's important that more guys stay here in UBC and SFU and places like that, or do you think it's all situational? Obviously, for you, it was situational with family, but I feel like you proved a pretty good point that you can stay here in BC and be able to make it to the league, right?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that was just a big part of the decision for me was just um, staying close to home. Even though it's different from Victoria, it's a new place to grow and learn and experience. Being over in Vancouver, I think it's like a great campus and super competitive football, great academics. So I do think guys from BC should take a little bit more of a look at schools like SFU and UBC, just because there's a lot to offer there for sure. And it doesn't really matter where you go, to be honest. Like if you have the talent, that will speak for itself. So um, I think anyone should just choose what's right for them at the end of the day, and go from there.
Perfect, man. Well, I appreciate it, and obviously, I wish you luck coming up here. Yeah, man.
Cool, man. That was good. Thanks. So
Yeah, appreciate it. I'll let you know once it's posted, but yeah, that was dope.
cool, man.
Okay, I'll talk to you later.
All right, sounds good. Later, bro.